Callista Azure. This is something they've been working on for a while, and they kind of got a little pressed at the end, which I think mostly was the interior, which happens to be a bunker house thing. And that was mostly because they had been absent for a little while, and then when they come back, that was right after the news had hit that the game was going to be shutting down. So it kind of, I think, sent them and probably other players into a bit of a panic for those that wanted to finish certain projects, because, as I understand it, they were using the residential renovation event as a means to collect some of the decor that they needed. So they've had to kind of rework the plan, so it may not be exactly what they envisioned for the interior to become, but I'm happy to say I took a peek this morning, and I'm delighted with how it turned out, regardless of if it wasn't exactly the plan to end up as it did. I think it looks awesome. So I'm really looking forward to showing this plot to you guys. Aurora is one of, I don't want to say newer players because it's been a while since they joined, but when they first come in, they pretty much put a lot of us to shame because their building skills are so outstanding. Among my top 10 easily, probably top 3 anyway. But we visited some of their plots in the past. I can't think of the names of the characters, but the one that comes to mind is like the pirate ship with the lots of filigree golden bits and the ropes made from ladders and things like that. I'm trying to think of a few of the others. I know there have been some, but I just can't think of the names off the top of my head. But if you get a chance and see any of the Azure plots listed in some of my past videos, definitely take a look at them, because they're some incredible feats. Not just in landscaping either. She's very detailed with furniture and architecture and just everything. It's just, you know, you have some builders that are better skilled at certain elements of a plot. In fact, we get a lot of collaboration, or had a lot of collaboration builds between players, that maybe someone was more talented at the landscaping and another one was better at the decorations of the interior of the home, and they work together to combine their skills to make a full coherent build or cohesive kind of project. I'm one of those that I really am horrible at the landscaping. I'm jealous of those that can do it and make it look natural. Not that I'm all that talented at the other, but it's a rarity where you find a builder that can do both equally well. And so enjoy this tour, guys, because it's going to be a good one. Hey Bones and Aurora, of course. Now I'm going to do my best to kind of name most of the stuff that's being used in this plot. Hopefully Aurora can fill in the blanks that I am unable to fill in for myself. I don't know how detailed we're going to get into every single item, but I'm going to do my best to kind of mention. I know it seems kind of pointless now, because it's not like we're going to have a lot of people come in and try to replicate something or create something new with this as an inspiration. But you know, for those that have played WildStar and are familiar with the building system and the items we are provided, maybe they can reminisce about the extraordinary efforts that the builders, all of our builders, have gone through in creating things out of other things and making them look as if they came as it was. And so yeah, it's just kind of an appreciation kind of deal, to be sure. So let's get started. This is, again, as I said, Callista Azure's plot called the Honeymoon Cottage. You can see how they've done the teleport pad. Again, the majority of builders really hated that thing. So they always found ways of covering it up, hiding it, disguising it, trying their best to just kind of blend it in. Not everybody did that. Sometimes it fit the theme. Other times people just kind of like, I'm just going to build a thing around it and then build a tunnel and then bring it into the actual thing and not fuss over it. But this is a great example of how finding certain items that can work over the teleport pad and be used around it comfortably could easily change how it looks. So I think this here, the part that's actually over the top of the teleport pad, is the barnacle weed. Again, most of the items that were used in this way are what we consider hollow. It's like a trick to fake, because when you go to edit in the housing, there's like a barrier around the teleport pad, just like there's a barrier around the edge of the plot. And you have to kind of trick it into thinking that you're not actually putting something solid there. And that typically meant we had to use items that were what we called hollow. There's like either there's no collision at all, so it doesn't treat it as a solid object, or the bigger you make it, the inside is hollow even though the edges aren't, or something like that. So yeah, it was kind of a trial and error thing. A lot of builders would just kind of play around with items and see what worked, what didn't. And it wasn't necessarily consistent, so like a lot of us use like the gray stones, the basic one. When it's oversized, it's hollow on the interior and you could use it to cover the teleport pad, but its matching partner in the sandstone version was considered solid and it didn't work the same way. So it's a little tricky. And of course, like things like the grasses and stuff that absolutely have no collision whatsoever, those were always a big fave of decorating around the stuff. And then of course, other things like these, I guess these are the bottom parts of some fence posts or whatever. Those you just snug them in as close as you can, basically. Sometimes the bigger the item, the better. Other times it was, just, again, a trial and error to see what things could fit. Because the barrier to the teleport pad is pretty close to the barrier of the plot itself, right around here. And so there were certain things you can squeeze in between the two, and others you couldn't. So it was just kind of, tinkering around with items to see what worked and what didn't. Let's see. This part here, like the little raised grasses. Now, you can kind of see the edge, how razor thin it is. It's actually pretty fine. It's like a hair width or thickness or whatever. But this is an upside down snowy hill. You can tell by the white puffs of snow that come up as you run over it. That's probably the go-to, or was the go-to, once it was introduced. Before that, it was the upside down umbrella tree, which was rare and expensive typically, and you were lucky if you got a hold of one. But yeah, if you can see how the snow disappears, that gives you the hint that this is actually probably one of the Protostar Insta Hills, which was a cash shop builder's pack that came with several different, like a mound and then a double mound and a triangle piece and all that. So you'll see that how they've flawlessly or seamlessly merged all of those in. And again, this is the example of where the builder opted to leave off the clutter, I think, because I think we're down on the actual base surface of the plot here, but it helps to blend in the little hills and such that they've made the landscape into, by leaving off the clutter and just adding their own grasses and flowers. It's also a great way for those that wanted to define an actual path that their visitors were meant to follow, especially important in jungle areas or whatever. easier to kind of define a path that your visitors were meant to go down and not veer off wildly like I would usually do. But you can see it's lots of rocks, lots of those little insta hills, and probably upside down snowy hills to make different slopes and things. Now, the rocks here, I believe it's, let me see if I can pull this up. I think it's a fence post, but I don't think it's a lamp post, because the lamps would count towards your light count, and that was pretty strongly, I think it's this here. These stones on the bottom of this Draken fence post, they're about the only as is dark stones that we have that are easily used in a variety of ways, like these landscaping and the stones here and such. There's probably a couple of other ones that have similar things, like the upside down makeshift bulletin board. That was a favorite. It's got gray stones, and then there's things like the Draken fencing. A lot of people like to use those in certain ways for like the layering the bottom of a river or something to make it look like it's a little rocked up and everything. So this one is predominantly, I think, using that particular fence post in various sizes, angles, and such. It's something, it's like one of those things, once one builder figures it out, then everybody's like, why didn't I think of that? And they start using it too. Others will use like the asteroid rocks and the space rocks that we got a hold of before for like big mountains and stuff. It's kind of like the taurine head statue. If you flip it to just the back of it, it makes for great cave walls and plateaus or whatever for like surfaces for like I don't know what to call them, waterfalls and stuff. I've used them for mountain scenes and everything as well. So it's just, you find an item, you like a little piece of it. It's not like we can chop off, you know, certain things that we like of it. So it's just fun to figure out how to use a particular thing a certain way and make it look like something totally different. So you wouldn't know that there's fence posts all over this place, but there literally are, because they're just using the bottom of it. Turn it upside down, shoving it down in the ground, and then just having a heyday. So, there's a lot of things on the outside here. I haven't really taken a full look, but we're going to try and catch it all, so hopefully I don't miss anything. And I'm sure Aurora will let us know if I've skipped something. Of course, this is kind of, like I said, a Valentine romantic themed plot. I want to say this was in part because of a CBDC, a custom-built decor challenge I did in the past, that maybe helped spur Aurora on making a complete plot build based on that kind of theme. But I'm not sure if that particular little build is still on this plot. Again, I haven't really looked over the whole area, but so that is the reason for the hearts. You're going to see a lot of heart stuff and lots of pink and everything. Oh, was it the bookhouse? Yeah, I thought I remember building something with it. I've done it in a few other places too. I think I did it on Melancholy's Brass Roots plot in a desert area. I think I used some of them there. I can't remember though. But yeah, I think I did. I think it's the CBDC I'm talking about, is that little like bookhouse heart Valentine thing, which we'll be taking a look again later. Not today, but a later stream. Anyway, this particular heart is a combination of tubes and cylinders of the Greenock persuasion, and then looks like some Greenock walls that have been recolored. Now, Aurora loves the recoloring feature. I'm a bit of a cheapskate when it comes to spending stuff, so I didn't really use it as much, but you will see the glories of that once we move further into the plot. If you can envision certain items in a different color, it's amazing how differently they appear once you recolor it. But here's a pretty little pink and silver heart, kind of like a centerpiece for this little pond. Now, these are the newer versions of the waterfalls. You're going to see them a lot. There's some here and inside the bunker house area as well. Again, these were very much desired and much praised once they became available, but for those that had existing water features, they found them very troublesome because obviously the old waterfalls didn't match the actual framework or positioning, or however you want to say it. So they had to do some remodeling to be able to blend them into existing builds. But for those that were able to get a hold of them for a new build, amazingly realistic and beautiful looking, just so pretty, and lovely animation, and the misty bits that come off and everything. It was just, folks still love the old ones, the old waterfall types, and they have their uses. I think they're better for like when it comes to like sinks and bathtubs and stuff, when people want to use them for those kind of little bits. Now, the sound effects, I think, are a little off because obviously they sound like a rushing waterfall, but the look of them suit that type of stuff. I don't think you would get away with being able to use these for sinks and things. But anyway, I digress, or whatever you want to say. Same way here. We do have lots of yellow flowers and I think some pink ones, but I think these are usually the white weeping cup flower bunches, and they've just recolored them to make these vibrant pastels. That's great because the only yellow flower I can think of besides the little sunflower thing that you can get from the cash shop is those canary flowers. And those were troublesome for me because it took me a while before I unlocked them via the reputation vendor for the particular zone that they came from. So to be able to use the recoloring or the painting feature for the decor to be able to make your own yellow plants, I thought was amazing because it put the stress off of having to level up or raise up the reputation for that particular zone once they become available. I mean, obviously the shapes and stuff are different. The canary flowers are a little, they look more like, to me, like clover type of leaves. So yeah, it was the color shifting was a heaven sent for sure. And now here's a little, I guess it's maybe meant to be a mine, or they're just wanting to do some clearing of these rocks to make another area of loveliness. But again, these were, I think they're welders. Yeah, welders. I had some, I never used them, but people always had fun ways of figuring out how to make them look like they're either repairing something, carrying something down. So I guess he's supposed to be chipping away at the stones here. I don't know what's being used for the black part to make it look like a shadowed cave type of thing. Some of the things I know I've used in the past, like the interior part of the cellar entrance, the back side of the graded floor panel, although that it's not as dark black, it's more like a deep gray. But I think depends on the shadowing and lighting of the plot, you could get away with it. Once the recoloring became available, though, I think probably the only ones that really gave a true pitch black was like the Arcturus formations. Strangely enough, the snowy white, bluish, glowy stuffs. If you recolor them to the black and white, they like it was like black hole black. It was like like antimatter or something. It was weird. And because we saw someone do a volcano out of those, I think, at one point, and it was amazing looking. And that's the only other thing I could think of that might work as a good cavey tunnel feature, besides the cellar entrance, I think. So let's see. I don't know which way I'm supposed to specifically go, but we'll run around here. Let's take a look at the waterfall a little closer. Again, you can see they've used the overgrowth here and there. And again, notice how they've pushed some of it in, so it's not completely solid. I think I had a bad habit of trying to show it all and being afraid to push it in, but it looks better when it's like not all visible. It looks more, again, natural and realistic as far as looking like there's pieces of vine here and there. I don't think there's any hidden spots around here, but yeah. Now these little pathways, I think we saw this with the previous, like the little bookhouse thing challenge that we did. These are the bottoms or the base of the water troughs, and they've turned it into a little bridgey path ladder kind of thing. Really cute, great use of that item, especially if you're going for natural woods and stuff. For those that are more inclined for like the Oran type builds, they wanted to keep things lots of wood and viney stuffs, and this is a great way to kind of bring that in. But yeah, it's the bottom side of the water trough. Same here for the roof. Just lots of water troughs. I don't know if it's visible. Yeah, you can see. That's the interior, and it looks almost like glass, like some kind of like frosted glass, so it makes it look really pretty. You can see they've got the Oran chandelier, but they've recolored it. Usually it's kind of I think it's pink and yellow and real super pastel-y, not quite gaudy, but this tones it down a lot. I think they used the black and white again here. Same way with the sides. Those are all the troughs, and notice how they've made this cute little like choppy design. And then the interior, you can tell by the marbled look, that's the Draken walls. I used to love using them for dirt because they just, I don't know, it kind of looks like dirt to me. For the supports, those are the ladders. I think most of us would be tempted to just use pillars straight up, but the ladders they go well. Same way with the railing here, they just put more ladders across the top with some of those, I think it's called drooping gorge fruit. Kind of makes it look viney, as if it's like roses or something about to bud open. Let's see. This here, I assume it's a pillar that's been recolored. It looks maybe like an Oran one or possibly a Exile version. This is that brown table that usually comes in the builder starter pack when you first get your housing plot. And then the stools or whatever are feeding troughs with pillows on top. And then I guess the base is just either domes or cylinders being used, all nice and lovely. But what an adorable little, what do you call it? Can't think of the name. Oh, I want to say pagoda, but that's not it. I don't know what. And Aurora's saying that the black hole for the little cavey part is the eye socket of an animal skull, which is disgusting when you think about it. But clever use of that particular item, because yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. Let me see if I can call that up just for kicks. Let's see. Maybe I can find it with skull. This one, I guess. So it's the eye socket for this thing. Or maybe it's this one. It's probably this one, because this one looks a little difficult to hide. So it's probably that one there. See, that's clever use of it. Who would think, oh, that looks like a cave thingy. Aurora, that's who. I don't want to forget to mention the little lantern here. We saw some of those other lanterns on the plot from last week. This is another example. Again, notice how they're mimicking the roofing and such, the structure build for the little gazebo. That's the word I'm looking for. And using the same kind of structure, maybe not as detailed, but it's still there with the ladders and the roofing thing. And I think that's an upside down Orin window. Cute little lantern. You know, it's sort of Asian-y, but not enough. So it doesn't clash here. I think it looks great. Hey, Fia, or Flaw. Can't tell if that's an I or an A. I think it's an I. Fia? If not, well, sorry. Excuse me. So yeah, a nice little lovely gazebo. Over here, we ride up some little bumpy lumpies. Again, it's not easy to blend all this in, and possibly a lot of the positioning of the stones for the different sections for each time there's a new level of ground is put there to cover up the seams, especially like right here. It was almost a requirement that there be a surrounding edge of stone, because otherwise you'll see the edge of the snowy hill, and you can almost make out the line right here. It's nothing to do with how they've placed the items. It's done perfectly well, but either it's my graphics card or something that makes it where I can see the seam show through. That's the only kind of quirky thing, but if you can kind of look past that and not have somebody like me point it out, it looks awesome. Even if you're forced to, again, like I say, trim it all in stones or whatever. Because obviously trying to match up those hairline edges is really difficult. Trust me, I've tried it and it just does not work. So you end up having to be clever about placement of bushes and rocks and other things to kind of fake it in and blend it in. And being able to use the Protostar Insta-Hills as an in-between different layers of those upside down snowy hills helps. But again, for those that either weren't able to or unwilling to spend the cash up money for those Insta-Hills, it became necessary to use other tricks like the stones and stuff. So here is the top of one of the waterfalls. You can see again, a lot of care was taken in how the stones were placed to make it appear there was a reason why this one is split into two and this one has got another one over here, that the jutting of the rock caused those particular streams of the waterfall to be created. And really, it's the waterfall comes like that, and you have to play around with the positioning of those stones to make it look as if it was meant to be that way. So it looks like it came like this, but it really wasn't. It's meticulously built piece by piece with the stones and such. So here we have a little inner tube kind of thingy, floaty device. It's just tubes that's been recolored, some pastel colors. The decking, of course, is decking pieces and pillars. And then the little deck chair or lounger, I don't know what you want to call it, is also decking pieces. It's decking railing for the arm parts, and then the decking pieces for the bottom and back with, I believe it's towels possibly that have been recolored. It might be the back sides of the folded shirt. It's really hard to tell. But it looks like possibly this towel here just been recolored, and the stripy part being hidden by mushing them together just so. Yes, Fia, that is true. WildStar is closing down. November 28th is the final day. So you still have a few weeks to enjoy the game while it lasts. If you happen to have a plot or a character that you want to preserve via video and stuff, now is the time to do it. I know there's been a lot of builders and such that have been taking crash courses in video making to be able to do it, because obviously I'm not going to be able to capture everybody's plots in memoriam. So as many as I have visited, which has been, I think, 400 or more, yeah, it's been insufficient, I guess, to capture everybody's. Oh, hey, Cheeky. Well, I didn't recognize you. You keep changing your name. I think that's like the third one I've seen from you. But yeah, I know there's several plots of yours that we've covered in the past, but getting your own video wouldn't be ill-advised, because again, it's one of those things. It's like, even though I'm streaming a lot of these places, there's a lot of my chitter chatter that most people probably won't want. I just say mute it and then watch the video and enjoy the scene rather than listen to me. Okay, so now we kind of moved off to the side here. I didn't want to go up to the main house just yet. So here we have a little picnic area. They're used to picnic tables and stuff. But here's the little picnic basket with some bread and fruit. The bread thing, the cutting board is actually the cheese wedge and board, and it's just been flipped over so that the cheese is underneath. You can kind of see the shape of the cheese, which is kind of funny if you think about it. The shadow of the cheese is showing. But if you look past that, it just looks like a little cutting board. And then they've got, I think it's a sandbag pushed down, and to make it look like a loaf of bread. To me, more it looks like a big old baked potato, but I think it's meant to be like a loaf of bread. And then you've got the knife, and they slice it off and put some cheese on it. The basket is actually multiples of the fireworks crate. Again, this was something that you were able to unlock all of the firework decor if you participated in the Starfall event, which I guess we won't be seeing again. But once you unlocked it, you got access to all of the fireworks and the crate itself, which also meant you got the crate top. But the crate, it looks like there's like 4 or 5 of these to build it up to make it look like a little picnic basket. Some pillars for the handle, and then the lids for the lids. And then they've got the one propped open so that you can see there's fruit and stuff inside. Shadow cheese. Yeah, it's like some kind of warlock food or something, shadow cheese. But yeah, it's a shadow. You can see it's like a little triangle there. But that's because there's cheese underneath the board. They've just flipped it over. Yeah. And then I love this little archway thingy for the little, I would call it like a porch swing, but it's not on a porch. It's just like a little, I don't know what you call it. It's a swing, but it's not like a children's swing. It's more like a couple's swing. But these are all rain gutters, or not just the arch, but also the swing itself. And I think they're using the newer hanging chains, the Osun version. They look a little rustier than the others. I think the others are more silver, and the links look a little rounded. These are more like rectangles. But yeah, it's just lots and lots of rain gutters. These are great for those like terracotta roofs for houses if you want to do that. I've seen some use them for not flooring, but probably like walls and stuff. I've seen folks, of course, use them for like plant holders instead of actual rain gutters. It's very seldom that we use things entirely as they're meant to be. You know, there's a plate, and then there's, you know, the lid to a toilet, or the eye to a fish, or, you know, something goofy. But that, again, that was the charm of WildStar housing, that you could just fiddle with things and see them in a different way. Again, with the overgrowth, and then those little yellow sunflowers I mentioned earlier dropped in to make it look like all pretty and colorful. Again, another pool here. And notice it's not like they made one and then they copied it and moved it over. It's a different shape, different arrangement of the stones. It's the same stone, the same fence post over and over, but they've just, you know, manipulated it so it looks like just a bunch of different types of rocks there. Again, a little lantern. Now notice how if I'm pretty far, my camera's stretched out, you don't see the top. Again, it's one of those quirky things. It's either my graphic settings or the rendering rules of the housing, because one of the reasons why we were limited in how many items we can actually put on a plot, be it interior or exterior, is because of the rendering issues. In the beginning, we were limited to, like, I think it was 300. And even at that, we had people having their computers crash because when they'd zone into someone's plot, it would like just freeze or whatever, because it took so much effort for the rendering of all the items. It became more problematic when they would use a lot of animated items, such as like these waterfalls or things that had a lot of lighting, so it had a lot of shadows cast and everything. Obviously, a lot of those issues were either tweaked or fixed in a way that they were able to up the decor count, but I think part of that was solved by them forcing certain things to be rendered less at a distance. That's why you would get into things where people would like maybe build a house and you wouldn't see all the parts of the house until you got closer. And it really wasn't consistent as far as what items would disappear at a certain distance, but you can see like the water trough items. Here, I'm at a pretty good distance from the gazebo, but they're at a larger size, so it maintains visibility. But the smaller it went, the more likely it is to disappear at a distance. And that became troublesome for like those with signs where they have lettering, and then they want to take a wide screenshot and then the lettering disappears or parts of it disappear and it looks like a weird kind of kanji kind of stuff going on. That's why. And so it became, you know, you had to play it smart. Just zoom in your camera a little bit more so you can get all the detail that you want so that it actually shows up as it's meant to. Trying to see if that's the case with the house at all. Doesn't look like it. Looks like most of the pieces show up. You can see how the railing here isn't visible until I get a little closer. You can see it. Again, that's just, I think it's just the rendering setup that they have, and probably a combination of how I've got my graphics set up. So yeah, we'll visit the house in a moment. I'm gonna trek off to the side here and go a little higher up. Because again, when you're visiting someone's plot, it's always fun to kind of go to a high point so you can get a really good view of the overall shape of the build and stuff. So here's a good, you can see how elevated this is. I mean, down here, right in here is like where the actual ground is, but then they've like raised it so much. I know in the beginning, like especially in beta and right after the game launched, it was like you go to everybody's plot and it's just perfectly flat. Everything's flat, 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 flat. But once people started figuring out that they could, you know, trick it into ways of making raised ground by using the upside down umbrella tree, for instance, that became, you know, the ultimate goal to do that, to make these different tiered areas so that it's not perfectly flat anymore. I mean, some would use things like the hay piles and then cover them with grasses, or the domes, cover those with grasses. I've done that myself. And make like rolling hills and stuff. It's just, it's mind-boggling how people can make this and make it look like it came that way, like it was supposed to be. But it's really, the ground is way down here, the actual ground level. So let's take a look at the main house here. A lot of it is hover park pieces. You can see some of the stripping here. Domes, curved walls, lots of glass, curved glass, all the framed glass and unframed glass. It looks very modern compared to a lot of the houses we've seen in the past that look more like just old versions with the wood slats on the sides and everything. This looks more chic or whatever, expensive. Trying to get it from all angles here. Get it from the side. Oop, oop. There's another good view. Lots of windows and such, and the little balconies. Great for, you know, if you have some friends over and have a nice view of all the water features. Notice the mailbox. Yes, the functioning mailboxes, there was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 different versions based on race. So you had like the Granok style, the Orange style, the Chua style, and so forth. I think, I want to say maybe 70–80% of builders, if they're going to have a mailbox on the plot, they're going to make their own, or somehow cover up and manipulate or bling it out. Because I think most of us just, it's not that we didn't like what the original mailboxes look like, but I think most of them didn't fit the themes that we had set up, or the decor colors or the arrangements and stuff. Yes, some of them did, but as a general rule, I think most of them didn't. You know, it's not like we had a heart-shaped mailbox that we could tinker around with. So Aurora has actually made one. Now it looks like the door is similar to the little stone statue out in the water that we saw earlier. It's built the same, using the tubes and cylinders and the little dome here with the walls filled in. But this part, if you look, it's pillars that have been recolored to a pink shade, just lined up, lots and lots of pillars. There's like a ton of them there, to make this little heart-shaped container. And then they've inserted a triangle piece and a floor piece to make it look like envelopes. And then the paper scroll bits, I think those are the message in a bottle, the core. The little flag to let the postman know that there's something to pick up, or the owner of the plot to know that there's mail that has been delivered. That is a pillar, and then the purple pillows, several of them to make the little heart shape here. Again, it's one of those things that the further away the camera is, the more detail disappears. That little flag, you don't even see it. You get really up and see, like, the top doesn't show up till really close. But how adorbs is that? It's so cute. Little Valentine mailbox. Yeah, and the newer chains, those Osun version, they actually have collision to them. You can't pass through them like the other ones, which I'm sure you figured out because I think you use the other ones throughout the other part of the house. Let's go up to the little house here. We got a lovely little water feature. Now these are the older waterfalls. See how they work much better? I don't think the other ones would have worked as nicely for this little setup. They just I like that you're able to still find uses for both versions if you happen to have access to both. But these are just the bowls being used as this little tiered water fountain thingy. Obsidian stones for the base of it. A lovely little topiary kind of deal. Again, those bowls that are used for the fountain here, same bowls. They've added a dome for the base of this one and a cylinder to kind of link it in, so it looks like this giant little like goblet kind of thing. And then I think it's just one of the leafless trees, like the wilted tree or something. And then they've added in the bramble bushes in a little curved setup, and then thrown in some of those hanging fruit that's been recolored to a pink. And it looks like it's underlit a little bit to kind of make it bright. Here we have a little setting area, like a breakfast round or something. Again, most of this building and the main structures are hover part pieces. This one's been lined with, it looks like Chua pillows for the cushions. And this, I think, is that brown table again, inset, and of course recolored. And then the fruit bowl has been, not the fruit bowl, the regular bowl, the same one that's being used for the fountain in here. Another one, but it's got various foliage in it. There's like the yellow flowers that have been dyed pink. You've got some of the bushes. These, I think, are some of the cactuses from the desert areas, and then some other kind of little flowers for a nice little floral arrangement there. The white drape's been turned golden yellow. Again, lots of color shifting, so if you don't recognize some knives, I can't blame you, because it's really hard to identify some once they've been shifted. The foods, oh boy. Again, the platters, or the little boards here, are the cheese platters that's just been flipped over so you don't see the cheese. You got your regular sandwiches, you got your tacos, you got your toast. It's been kind of made to look like a loaf that's been sliced up a bit. But then you have, I think it's supposed to be croissants. I'm trying to get a good camera angle here. It's kind of hard because I'm not good at zoning in here. But I think they're sandbags that have been just tweaked. It's like 4 or 5 of them to make like little croissants. The little garnish here on the side, which I have no idea if that's supposed to be like strawberries or something, but I think that's the top of a palm tree. And then I'm not sure what the red part is. It might be the top of the firework, which I think is what these are here to make it look like some kind of a parfait, which I thought was kind of a nifty idea. It's actually the firework, which, let me see if I can show you. Yeah, it's this one here. And then they've added another item down below this kind of, if I can get there, to make it look like there's some kind of, I don't know, a chocolate or a pudding or something underneath. The pie, maybe it's a pumpkin pie with some whipped topping on top, and again, that red rocket as the little fruit there. Basically, it's those bowls again, but like two of them, and then one is shifted a little bit to make it look like this little fluted edge. Once I discovered that, I went whole hog on it with like the bakery thing. I've got like lots of different little pies. I like using the mushrooms for the tops and stuff. The goblet, I like that Aurora's using it upside down like I do, because I swear it looked more like a pitcher to me. So that's what they're using it here. It's like a pitcher of water. It's really upside down. It's supposed to be the goblet, and this is the base, but this is also the item where the base is enlarged and people use it for water features like pools and stuff. It's super shiny, but the bottom, when you step on it, the bigger it is, it doesn't, the collision of it to make it solid doesn't exactly line up with the actual base. It's a little inset, so it's one of those things, the bigger the item is, the deeper the water appears. So people have used it for like ocean, beachside scenes, and it's worked really well. It's just, you know, a little trick of the eye kind of thing. Let's see. Then you've got the cake over here. I think it's snow pieces, and then the strain overgrowth for the icing on the edges. Yellow flowers that have been turned pink again, and then for the green, it's again the top of that palm tree, I believe. Again, notice how they play around with the levelings of the flooring as well. They don't leave everything perfectly flat. I'm more tempted to do that myself, but I see the niceness that it brings, or the difference it makes when you elevate a certain part. It just kind of sets it off a little bit. But this appears to be a bedroom slash bathroom kind of thing. Maybe this is a jacuzzi or something. Again, this is one of the newer waterfalls, encased inside books for all of this part. It's those, it's not the grimoire, but it's like the brown book, I think. For the towel here hanging off the edge of the books, that's a recolored snow block, I believe. Recolored files. This one's actually 3 files put together. And then recolored, that's a goblet, I think, that's being made to look like a bowl. And then the sleeping bags. Old waterfalls, and again, just more books here. Make it look like water coming out. Red moon vent for the drain. Over here we have a little vanity table. The chair is just lots and lots of pillows. It's those, I call it the hot dog pillow. It's kind of weirdly shaped thingy. And then round, I think it's the purple pillows. The mirror is Hugel portraits with, I assume it's the base of one of the metal plates to make the mirror part. The perfume bottles, these are combinations of files that have been recolored. And I think a goblet for part of this one. The one with the little squirter thingy on it, if I can get a good shot of it, I think that's a Merg explosive bottle. I think it's 1 or 2 of them together, actually, just because of the shape of it. And then the hanging cable for the little tubing of the squirter thing. The brush, let's see if I can get a good close look at that. Another Hugel portrait with the wheatgrass clumps. And then I think that's an ornate oran pillar thingy. The little jewelry box, I guess is what it could be called, is actually it's just one of the crates, and then they've decorated it up with colored granite walls, or maybe it's floor pieces, more Hugel portraits, and then another little bit that's been recolored to a, dang it, get the, to a pink. Might be a dome, or I don't know what it is. The lamp, oh my gosh, what is this? It looks like files, multiples, and some of them have been recolored just to make it a little different. Lots of files, like 2 big ones here and 2 little ones here and a medium one and a couple other big ones. A dome, and then a curved glass, and it's just multiples offset a little bit to make this little design here. Some of us have used them not colored yellow like this, but clear, and like made little glass bowls and stuff. I think I have one in my bakery, in fact. Or I might have used it as a kind of a glass cloche kind of thing. But the lamp is great use of those. I think I just got myself stuck. There we go. I'm okay. The bed is similar to the chair. It's just a lot of pillows. And care was taken to make it look into a almost like a snail design there. Tubes and such for the headboard, and then more pillows for that purple padding. We have a little romantic chocolates box. The chocolates, again, my favorite use of the candy thing. That's the upside down barnacle weeds. It's the seaweed plant looking thing. Turn it upside down, the bottom of it, it looks like little squares of, well, not squares, but little clumps of chocolate to me. And I'm happy that other people have taken up that idea, because I swear it looks like it's got the little swirls and everything. But the box itself, again, it's those tubes and stuff for the main lid. But this here, because they're using it on this partial trophy cabinet, they're able to sink in the walls. It's curved walls and floors that's been recolored and pushed down so that it looks like it's not so deep. We do that with the cardboard boxes too. You have the cardboard box, and it's really pretty high, but if you squish it down, it looks like a thin box. Again, it's just finding fun ways to trick your viewers, your visitors, into thinking it's something else. Here is a little votive candle thing. It's the water trough again, but they've pushed down so you don't see the legs of it. Maybe recolored a little bit, or insert something that's been recolored to make that little purple, and then just put the candles in. This, of course, is that lop deal, again, recolored, and then with some plants stuck in. For the stones here, I think that's the Draken fencing. You can see the little skulls, just barely. So I'm pretty confident that's what that is. And I think it's been recolored, because I want to say the Draken fencing is a little different shade. This is probably black and white to make it look more like little pebbles for the bamboo wall here. Oh, isn't this cute? Little just married sign. It's mostly just granite wall for the back. This part here is one of those, there's a bunch of portraits that have that kind of gold edging. It's like the luminar thing, and then several of the portraits. The one that's got that weird metal backing as well. For the letters, it's bananas, I believe. Lots of bananas. You can kind of see the stems for some of it. Again, it's one of those, if you back up to try and take an overall shot, you're going to lose a lot of details. You can see it looks like Merle. You even lose some of the stuff that's on the shelves until you get closer. So we have the bouquet, apparently. It's more of those leafy stalks, some bowls, and various flowers for the arrangement. I like how they've made it look like a little bow with using some of those viney bits plants and turning them pink, so it looks like a little tied off ribbon. The wedding album, I guess, is just an open book, and then they've placed travel posters in ways it looks like somebody's taking some photographs. The banana cabana. Yeah. A Hoga portrait behind there. The wine goblet thingies or whatever, I think those are several of the different files, and then a couple of glasses. It looks like two, one uncolored and one recolored or something along those lines. Or maybe it's a filled and a not filled one. Because I think the filled one, they look like, I call it pea colored because it looks yellow and gross, but anyway. Then you've got the, I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, the rings or something? But it's another one of those portraits, orange floors it looks like. I'm not sure what's the ring. I think it's plates. This part I'm for sure not positive about. It could be some orange fencing, or maybe it's that little twiggy thing again that they're using for the ropes here. And then again, here with the pink and the green overgrowth and the varied colors of flowers. For the scroll, and man, I can't get the camera to zoom in good enough. The scroll is one of the tribal mats, and it looks like a recolored toilet paper roll, and then possibly some hanging cable that's been recolored to make it look like a pink string. And then this, I don't know, maybe it's a keepsake, a bag of rice or something, I have no idea. It looks like the top of the spade, the handle of it, one of the like little, I forget what it's called, it's not a sandbag, it's like a money bag or something, and then again that ribbony, viney stuff. Oh, are these like little floral crown thingies? Okay. That's not anything I'm familiar with, so I have no idea. I guess these are the rings then. Oh man, I'm not going to be able to zoom in really good, am I? It's going to be hard to see, but I imagine it's the pink pillow that's been turned yellow. The box itself, I think, is the graded floor panels. Probably a Chua pillow for the cushion, the velvet cushion. And then it's really hard to see, but possibly green pillows for the little diamond-y things. And then for this, maybe a bowl or the goblet edge that's been recolored gold. Something along those lines. It's really hard to get in there and see. It might be just grease, I don't know. It's not a tradition I'm familiar with, that's for sure. But that doesn't mean that other places don't have the little crowns and stuff. This thing here, what is that? It's just like a giant candelabra thingy. Bowls. And of course that's all one candle piece here, and then it looks like a toilet paper roll with some greenery and flowers to decorate it up. Again, those one vines being turned pink to make it look like a pretty little ribbon. I think that's what it looks like to me, so that's what I'm going with. The little living room fireplace area. Again, tubes and floors and domes and such for most of the like backing and the arms. Recolored some of them to make the purple to match the cushiony areas for these little lovey-dovey chairs. The wine bottle, oh my gosh, look how fancy that thing is. It's, if you can see, it's one of those Drake and Ernie things, just multiples of those to make it all golden and fancy. I mean, we have actual wine bottles, and Aura opted to make their own, which I love. I absolutely love that. And then another file, and then of course the frozen water for the icy part, and then obviously the bucket is part of the, I think it's the Chua cup. Again, with the goblets, I think it's just the multiples of the files and then an actual glass stuck on top. The fireplace is books, trophy cases, granite walls, Cassian walls, Google portraits for base as well. One of the taurine headpieces for the little decorative thing up there. Thorny logs, and then probably a fire pit or maybe even the small campfire for the fire part. And then this, I think, is a framed glass, and then the grating from Arctera as well. Pillars. The little funky tree here, it's the dead logs, I think. Just multiple of those, and then the bushes are clumps of different bramble grasses. It's the same ones I used for rose bushes on a different plot of mine. You make a little ball by combining like 3 or 4 of them together, and then you got a nice little like topiary ball kind of thing. Oh, I need to look up. Let me go here. Oh yeah. Jeez. I think that's more bowls and bowl trim. Yeah, I think that's what that is. Bowls. Amazing what you can do with the bowls. Oh, is he sleeping? Mine, I don't know where they are. I think they're downstairs. Then we have the grandfather clock here. Oh my gosh, look at this. It's mostly the empty trophy cabinets, I think, in varying sizes. Hugo portraits, multiples of those. He's got the yellow version and then the pink version. And then the Orin clock itself, because it actually, they still have the little cuckoo bird showing. I don't know if it'll actually pop out, but. And then look, there's a book here, some books inside. Looks like glass. We've seen several grandfather clock versions, and again, it's one of those things you can tell 10 people to make a grandfather clock and you'll get 10 different clocks. Again, it's the charm of WildStar housing that I'm super glad there's no glass here, because I can take my camera out and get a better look at this roof here. This is the balcony. It looks like 2x4s for the slats in between, and then curved walls to make it look like ribbon that's been threaded through. Cover part pieces again for most all of this rest of this stuff. For the railing, it's Orin windows, Orin those little tents that nobody can get inside, and then the fence pieces, just cutely arranged to make a nice little filigreed fancy railing here. The little chandelier type things, those are just the lanterns, and then they've got files tucked in. Dress it up a little bit. The little seating thing here, that's decking pieces, mattresses, water trough, massive umbrella tree. It's been struck down to a little bonsai thing. The book here, it's so hard to get close to all these beautiful details. It's just a book, but it's got one of the travel posters stuck on top. A lot of people like to do that for some of their library rooms. Just makes it look a little different. Hey Poi, good morning. Glad you could join. Again, more of those taurine head bits, but with Hugel bits, Hugel portraits tacked on for the little like sconcy things. Let's see, did I catch everything in here? I think that's all. Yep, I think that's it for this part. Go here again. You can see the up above. Very I don't know. Did you like draw out the plan for this thing before you tried to tackle it? It looks so complicated. Let me hop over here. Get a closer look at how you did the roof. If I, oh gosh. Carrot can't jump. Did you have an idea what you wanted to do though? I mean, or did you just start smushing things together and go, that works? That's how I usually do it. I just kind of stumble across certain things and go, that looks okay. You can see how everything's kind of blended in, smooth, and from the outside it kind of looked like there would be like multiple floors, but it's really just one. But look how it just blends in, just looks like part of the scene. You wanted half to be inside the hill, yeah, to make it look like it was like, kind of carved out and just added on to something that was like naturally there. Yeah, fantastic. I love this. Okay, so did I catch everything on the outside? This is all exterior still, folks. This is just the outside. I can't remember if you told me if this was maxed out on decor count or not. For exterior, we're limited to 2,500 items, and you can probably imagine how quickly that disappears when you go into all the details, how many pieces to make each heart and such. Okay, so that leads us to the path to the interior, and the clue to that is right here. Get the little heart emblem here. It's Hugel portraits again, and I'm not sure, stones or something that's been recolored to a purple, and then that wooden table kind of deal. Again, the stones are from those fence posts. The grasses and the little greeny bits, I think those are either I don't know what it's called, the snag thingy, or the frozen heart bush or something. I think it comes from Arctera or something along those lines. And then these here are the space wheat, the ones with the blue bulby bits at the bottom, and they've just pushed it down. Osum wood snags. I knew it was something along those lines. It's kind of creepy. It looks to me like almost like coral. I've seen a lot of people use it in some of their aquarium scenes. So yeah, I don't think it comes green though. Doesn't it? It's like kind of a gray or snowy looking. So the first thing we come upon is this little, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a fountain feature or a light feature or what, but it's hover part pieces. Make this little corkscrew thing. Lots of bowls to make this base here. Another bowl here, and possibly another one that's been recolored to a yellow, and then the inside part has been stuffed with books. I assume a glass or something to make the shiny water bit here, and then the center beam or pole or whatever, that's the red moon light. Straight from the house vendor. Well, shows you how often I've been building. Like, I don't recall that. Okay, I think, I'm not positive, but I think this part here that kind of looks curtainy is the Taurine stairs, or the stone stairs, I think. And this is the Hugel portrait. And then the handles, it's one of the Eldon, like, thingamabobs. And you're going to see that a lot in here because they just basically went crazy with Eldon stuff. So we're zoning into the bunker house of this particular plot. So this is the interior now. We're actually on the inside. And notice how they mirrored the doorway so it looks like you just come through the door. So again, you have the stairs, the Hugel portrait, and the Eldon thingy. That's what those are all going to be. They're all going to be Eldon thingies, so just, you know, you're going to have to suffer. Okay, handles are the shrine wall low. I know there was like some builder's kits that came out, like the street curbs and stuff, and the Dominion packs and everything. And a lot of those, they were like the later ones that came out, and I never touched those, so I'm really wholly unfamiliar with the pieces that come from that. I think some of this is Dominion goodies, and then the orange sconce inset to make these little wall sconces. But here's the interior. Looks like you got some eating areas, a little, what do you call it, the maitre d' or Aubert or something, where he's the one that signs you in, or she. Little balcony area above. I think this part's the kitchen, and I think, if I remember, this is like the bathroom area. So we're going to go all around and take a closer look at these things. So first is the, I guess, where you say, yes, I have a reservation kind of deal. Again, I'm not going to get into specifics about which Eldon pieces these are because there's just a bunch of them, but it's the same one that we saw being used in those Macari house builds last week or the week before, somewhere around there. Being used as this little pedestal thing. And then next to it is a little dressed up table. So you've got your drapes. These are actually wine goblets, and they pushed it down so that the stem of the goblet is invisible and not visible. So it looks like little, just little, like dessert glasses almost, with a punch in them or something. And then, of course, the bookmark or the ribbon thing for the book. That's, I think, one of the streamers. There's like two different ones, an Exile version and a Dominion version, and they've just kind of recolored it again. Again, with the flower arrangement, you've got like the emerald leaf and the actual flower vase for some of it, and then other parts. I think these leaves come off of one of the pillars, and then the yellow plants that's been turned pink, that kind of stuff. Eldon pulpits and crafted shrines. Most of it is terraformer fragment, shrine walls, and Eldon struts. Yeah, I think a lot of that is this part here, all the Eldon bits. This here probably, unless that's maybe just recolored from the the housing part itself. This is that portrait where that guy's got the like the red like monocle kind of thing, but you've pushed it in so it's just the trim being shown. Way to dress up the sconce there. Such attention to detail. I love the little water feature here. You can see those stairs again being used as actual stairs. There's the stone terrain door. I don't think there's actually anything hidden in there, but we're going to open it anyway. Oh, there is something. It's a little shiny thing. Can't get in there though. The gnarled celestial root or something. I think this is another one of those celestial clumpy things. It's just upside down and you have the root showing. Overgrowth, lots of stones, the gray stones, and I think some of the taurine heads as well. I can see the mossy parts on those. And of course the newer waterfalls with the lily leaves and such. All right, Bones, thank you for dropping by and we'll see you later. Have a good day. So again, yeah, you can see part of the taurine head there. They're just using it. Again, I told you it was a great item for like plateaus and like little outcroppings like this. Let's move over here to the dining area. These parts here, this bottom part of the railing edges bits and the stairs, I think those are from the street corner packet thing. I think it's the block, like the end piece or something. Let me see if I can find that. Again, I don't normally do this, but since it's towards the end, who cares? Street, I guess. Yeah, curb block. I think it's this. I mean, it could be this and just this part's pushed down, but I'm pretty sure it's just the block itself for all these little steps in here. And some have been recolored, that kind of thing. For the chairs, I think, again, these are Eldon parts. Books that have been recolored. I think it's the yellow book that's been turned pink for the cushiony bits. And then, of course, the pillows. And then this part is the heart table thingamabob, where it's these here. A little side table from the heart collection. And then they just push it down to make the base of the chair. This part, I'm not sure what that is. It's probably another Eldon thingy. That same table upside down being used as kind of the base of this centerpiece, again with the snag bush thingy and then the hanging fruit inside with, it looks like a glass. For the table runner, it's again books and then the drapes just recolored to kind of match as if it's like a table runner deal. The tree in the corner is similar to the one we saw before, but they've added the pink ribbons, just those viney swirly things. And then they've added in, it looks like, some of those weeping cups to make it look flowery. For this part here, I think those are bookcases, the Dominion style. And then some overgrowth, colored glass, and colored walls to just change up how they look. Granite floor for some of this up here. Oh, is it? Okay, so this is the floral arrangement. Let's see, let me see if I can find that. So you're saying the table is this? upside down and recolored. So this part is the top of the table here. Things you put together. So each table is pretty much the same. You can see that all right around here. But this one's actually been set up with some food. You can see like they've got the silverware wrapped up in a napkin, which is basically just a rolled up sleeping bag. And then it looks like they're on the salad course, so it's got some brambles for the green. I think it looks like that snaggy thing again, just recolored to, I don't know, look like some kind of onions or something. There's a cheese thing, and then it looks like some red for either some pillows or the red fireworks or something for different bits. And this one looks like they've already started eating, and so it's less and a little more spread out. Over here we have the little band. So we've got 3 instruments. We've got the, I think it's what, a cello, piano, and a harp. Let's take a look at the cello first. We've got, I believe, again, these are all stairs. And I know that had to have been a pain because I don't think those are easy to come by. Stairs, some of the Eldon Strutty stuff or somethings. This looks like the handle of the spade. The thing looks like a shovel sometimes. More Eldon-y bits here. The bass. The strings are sparking wires. You can see the sparks here and here. The top part looks like those heart themed side tables again. 2 of them here, and then they're joined with a cylinder. Several of them to make this little doohickey. The little tweaker tuning knobs or whatever, I think those are frying pans. Cracked me up. Frying pans. It works perfect though. It looks exactly what it's supposed to be. Crazy. Oh, you can buy them with omnibits now. Well, that's helpful. Yeah, appetizer. That's why I said I think it's like a salad course or something to prepare you for the meal. This part here, I think, is the edges of Draken fencing, just because of the striations there. But how crazy is that? I mean, the shape is awesome. Yes, because of my graphic setting, I think a lot of it is flickering, and that's because, again, one of the rules of the housing thing was if you have something exactly on the same surface as the other, it tends to do that flashy, weird stuff. Most of us got by with like offsetting it by like 0.01 or something, but it doesn't always work because then you can see the seams and stuff. I see some curved glass here for like the holder, I guess. That looks to be like the the heart-shaped coffee table there because of that blue part. How amazing though. And that's just the cello. Next is the piano. Now I want to mention the stool. It's the heart side table with the cushion on it. The bow is the spade and then another sparking wire thingy. But this one is the heart-shaped table, I think, with some more of those Eldon pieces for the legs and then double cushions with a little bench. More stairs, lots and lots of stairs. More of the Eldon little goodies for the decoration here. Uh, whoops. I think these are like the shiny parts. Go here so we see. Now, I'm not sure what's being used for the keys. I think it's maybe a combination of books and snow blocks. I'm pretty sure the white part is the snow blocks, but I'm not sure about the little edges here. Oh, Eldon pulpits. So these are the pulpits. Okay. Golden arrows here. I recognize that part. And this here is again that table. I don't know what's being used for the keys and stuff though. Generally speaking, most of the piano makers will use the books in different variations. Keys are ice blocks, and the black is the bottom of a fence post. Okay, is it the exile one? I know it's got a black little stem part. And then of course, Aurora signed it. It looks to be more of the Eldon pieces just because of the color and shape. I don't think it's bananas this time. There's Azure. It's helpful because I think most would probably assume Flower made the piano if you didn't sign it, because Flower is like well known for that. But they sign theirs too, always Flower. Then we have the harp, which apparently is more of those pulpits, several of them. Oversized handle of the spade, more of those Ullen brackety things, and then sparking wires for the strings. And then this looks to be several of those tables again, the heart end tables. This thing here, just multiples of those for the base of it. That thing's huge. It's like, look at that. It's like twice my size. Well, no, you could give Flower a run for their money because that's a pretty awesome piano. Oh, I forgot the pedals down here. The pedals, those are, looks like books and stairs again. Sparking wires for some of that, and I'm not sure what those are. Pillars, maybe. Yeah, I think I have like 24 characters, and I still have like 4 or 5 empty plots. I just never got around to filling them in with something. As I got so sidetracked with all the little side projects and stuff, and trying to, spur other people into ideas, I just kind of gave up on full plot builds myself. That's why I ended up doing those like mini plots, because I found that I had more time for that, to just think of a small thing and then tinker with that and not worry about the whole big plot. I'm like one of those, like be talking and they go like squirrel, I'm like easily distracted by other things. So it's never good to get me into a long-term project, that was for sure. So here we have another little kind of a heart shape. It's the Hugel portraits. Some more of that snag stuff that's been turned green to make it look like viney bits. The yellow flowers that have been turned pinky red. And then I guess it's the Draken floors have been like purpleized to make this lovely little heart. Here again, some more of those Eldon bits with the little shrubbery ball thingy. And here's the bathroom. Now this, I think, let's see, is, Mhm. No, I think it's this, the Eldon mosaic tile. You can't see it real good in this part because again, we can't flip these things like we want to. Um, like this, you can't make out really clearly what it actually looks like. And you can't see the bottoms because we can only rotate it a certain way. But I think most of the bathroom is decorated up with this piece. So they're using it for the doors, the top of the cabinet here. Because it's cleverly when you put those, it has that cutout and they just stuck in the bowl there. This I think is one of the landing pads or something, or the staircase to make it look like a faucet thing coming out. Um, it almost looks like Stargatey because of the symbols and stuff to me. Golden arrows too. Oh yeah, I guess that's what this part is too, isn't it? This here, I guess it's more the Eldon stuff, or maybe it's part of the bookcase. It's kind of hard to tell with the cushions, stairs, and our favorite thing, the toilet. Looks like the royal throne toilet. Goodness. I think it's a goblet thingy or something, or the base of one of those shrines again. Or the pulpit, one of those. Bookcase, I think, for this part. Granite walls recolored. Just so fancy. And then they got a little trash box here using some of the same items. So the pulpit again, probably this and this. Occupado. Again, those street blocks, the corner things. But then another one inset to make the little pink carpet going up. So it's just recolored. It's the same item, just smaller and then recolored. Made this lovely little stairway up into the upper balcony area. So up here we have the newer waterfalls for this waterfall feature. Stairs, the pulpits again, and some more of those street corner bits. But then this time we've got the long parts. For the tables, looks like the daises, top and bottom, and then the pulpit and some cylinders for the in-betweeny. Pulpits for the chair bases, domes, hollow domes, another dome recolored for cushion part. Pulpit again with a little bramble topiary ball. Another little water feature. More Eldon stuff, overgrowth for all that bright green. More of those cornerstones, making it look like the little cushiony bench. For the columns, I think those are pillars, just multiples and then twisted off a little bit. But it's been colored and it matches well with the stairs. Awesome ideas. Okay, here's the bar. Again, a lot of those Eldon strutty things. I see the charming bar, part of that. Stairs again, being used as the countertop here with granite walls, no, floors, recolored here. I don't know what these are, slushy machines or something. It looks like the dioces, pulpit, cylinders, and then glasses that have been recolored to make them look like, I don't know, different kinds of drinks, and then the curved glass. For the straws, honestly, I have no idea what that is. It looks familiar, but I'm not positive what that is. I guess it's just the soda cup, multiples of them, and recolored, I think. So it looks like it's a single cup, but it's actually like 4. That's my best guess. These here are actually the eyeball things, aren't they? And somehow you've inserted the cylinders, recolored them to make it look like fluids, and it hides the floaty eyeball that's inside these canisters. That's actually pretty clever. I never would have thought of that. And then of course you got your regular shot glasses. This part here is graded floor panel for the bowl of nuts or whatever. I think that's the hanging fruit, just different colors. The cabinetry, again, I think it's Eldony bits and granite floors. And then the cabinetry itself is, I think it's a lot of those street stones and stuff. I like how you were able to make the little cutouts for the sinks. That's not an easy thing to do. These are those ornate flowery pillar thingies, using for the faucets, and of course the red moon vent for the drains. This here that looks like a limey thing. I want to say those are probably snow bits, snow blocks, the rounded ones, and just multiple layers, and then to make it like it's the green skin with the white interior. That's my best guess on that. Of course, the files or different drinks back here. Like this is the upside down like shot glass or something, and then they've got a bottle inset, so it looks like a completely different kind of bottle. Same way here. These are multiple files and such, recolored. These here are, it looks like toilet paper rolls, bottles, red moon vents, and that Draken or Dominion pillow or something. Not pillow, shield. I keep calling it a pillow. It's a shield. It's a shield. Lime is the snow clumps. Okay, so I was pretty close. And then these are the urns, but then they've added in bottles or files or something to just make it a little different. Same over here. I think it's those eyeball jars again with more files. They even redecorated the locked chest. It's another bottle and set inside that. These files, that's regular files, and then they insert the urns, make it look a little decorated, and of course we colored them. The coffee machines, or whatever these are, teapots or something. I think it's upside down, or maybe right, I think it's upside down cooking pots with a vent tank and then a glass of some sort that's been recolored to make it look like it's been marked for like maybe regular and decaf or something. Yeah, shield. Well, the shield, to me, a shield is like, you know, you have the, it's like a curved, almost like a bowl kind of thing. But they made it double, so it looks like a pillow to me. It always looks like a pillow. So I automatically, it's kind of like with the fancy bar. It's charming, but I call it fancy because it's fancier than the other one. And I get into a bad habit of saying how I think of it. So, so that's the bar area. Over here we have a little, apparently, dance chillax area. It's mostly the pink pillows. This looks like the snow blocks for here and here and here, accented with the heart themed coffee tables and side tables with Eldon accents and the Dominion bookshelf and such. Like this is the heart-shaped coffee table, but there's like multiples to make this round little table here. Can't forget the little WildStar emblem. This must have been a headache to try and come up with. I think these are stairs for the frame. For the background is the base of the Dominion bed. This part, maybe the med kit for the W. And then all of this part, I'm guessing it's plates that some have been recolored. That's my best guess. Got something sticking out there. Just ignore that part. Am I close? I'm not sure. Medkit, plates, and oh yeah, the vent tank for the black part, right. Yeah, just let me just stand in front of it and then we won't see it. It's perfect. See, there you go. Nothing to worry about. Okay, so the ceiling, oh my gosh, the ceiling. Well, this part here is built in. That's as is. But then I think there was Draken floors. I think this is that dais thing. And of course the chandelier. But it looks like multiples to make it look a little fancier. This part, I don't know if that's Eldon or Taurine. And then it looks like maybe a dome because of how it looks curved, sort of. Hard to tell, but it's really pretty. And then last but not least is the little center area here. Again, it's another dais, I think. I love these vines. It's really just that snag stuff again with the yellow flowers that have been dyed pink. The pulpits again, and then it looks like the shrine with the stairs. And some of those Eldon strutty things for the top part of this. I guess this is where folks can come in and, you know, do their little vows for wedding stuff. So here you have the guy behind the pulpit, which is actually a pulpit, but it's upside down pulpit with his little book. And then over here you have the table, which again is the stairs. Arranged with several things, including the fancy goblets, which again, it's really hard to get. I'm like floating in the air there. I think it's files, maybe different files sandwiched together, and then a glass on top with possibly a red moon vent for here. Even the forks, or I should say the spoon and the knife, have been dressed up. I think they've been recolored, and or one of the Eldon thingies is stuck on there to make it look like golden. I don't know what's being used for the platter specifically. Something Eldon. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, did I forget the kitchen? I'll get to the kitchen then. Don't worry. I'm glad you mentioned it, though. The cake itself, though, is snow blocks, orange fencing for these little greeny bits. Hanging fruit, I think, here. I think this is a red moon vent again. And then blooming flowers that have been recolored, I think. I'm not quite sure. Actually, those look like crystal formations that are upside down for those flowers. Again, it's kind of hard to get close. And I think these are just fern bits. Yeah, I forgot the kitchen back here. I got this whole area actually. Drake and cauldrons, and then various flowers. Got your tall finger flowers and your yellow flowers. The little love swans here, that's overgrowth, glass, stairs for all of this here actually. Hugel portraits, Draken floors, and the Swanee things, that's, I think it's the weather vane, the top of the weather vane deal. This here is the tree table that's being used as the rug. The pulpits again for the chair and the little love seat here. Water trough and greenery for the little centerpiece. I forget what these things are, but it's that little funky, like fluffy bush that if you turn it over, it kind of looks like a nest. And then they've added in the weeping cup flowers in different colors, very pastel-y and cute. And here's those chains again, the hanging chains. The regular ones, they have no collision whatsoever, so you can go straight through. The other ones, the Osun version, that's more rectangle links, that one is actually solid. So if you want to use it as like railing or a walkway or something up above, a balcony or whatever, that actually behaves in the way you expect it. This one, you can just walk right through. You can see how paper thin those are. The links kind of disappear. Looks like weird donuts or something. I think the dais again with the orange sconce set in. Golden arrows for the trim here, I think. We had the little food cart. Daises for the wheels. Some more of those street curvy things for the framework of the little cart with elven accents and such. Golden arrows, street blocks again, elven-y accents. And here is the little bell. It's just a dome with a bottle top in there. I'm not sure what the main course is supposed to be, but I can tell it's like these are long leafy stalks, and it looks like tacos, but like set so you just see the bottom side, and like the upside down that barnacle weed. And I think in this instance it's meant to be like a gravy and not chocolate. And then these things here, I'm not sure what those are. The coloring throws me. I'm not positive. But here you can see it's like an assembly line. So maybe that isn't gravy. I don't know. It just looks. Oh, is it meat? Okay. I'm calling it gravy. It's a steak. We'll say it's a steak. So here's you got the steaks, and so he's got, what's these here? It's supposed to be, I'm not sure. These look like fries almost, but I'm not positive about that. You got the salad bits, and these here, that's the hanging fruit for the, I guess, the tomatoes. And then maybe this is like asparagus, the leafy stalks. Oh, these are spoons to be colored orange. Oh, well. I know you liked using them, or maybe it's not you, maybe it's Flower again that used them in nighttime painting scenes and used the spoons as the stars, and it was like meticulously a lot. So it's some kind of a meat dish with garnish and other bits. And you can see here that they're just using that as an assembly line. So you see its progression. It reminds me of the chocolate factory I have where we were making a gingerbread, and you see the steps adding the icings and stuff. The cabinetry, again, I think is the street blocks. And then I think this part here is the water trough, and then they've just filled it in with the granite walls or floors. Yeah, and it was just crazy the amount of spoons they used. Same way with the little carriers for the utensils, water troughs for those as well. The fridge, I like the little wine rack here. It's more of those pulpits, and they've just got the wine sitting in each one. The refrigerator, though, this is just more of those street blocks again. I think this is a combination of different detonators and a travel poster for the backing, Oran floors with the edge of one being used as the divider for the doors, and then the handles are those reinforced barriers or whatever. The thing that people like to use for their tank builds or that submarine that we saw not long ago. The faux door, which we saw elsewhere, is again the bookshelf, Eldony thingy, and the granite walls. Oh, well, that was very nice of them. And don't forget the little display case here that's plates on either end with curved glass, I think. The coverings. I like the little tongs here. It's just a fork and a spoon smooched together to make it look like little clampers. Okay, so did I catch everything? Did we miss anything? Is there something you want to say about, what inspired this, or how long it took you, or did you max out both inside and out, or? Now's your chance. Forever hold your peace. All done. Okay. Well, I'm going to head back out real quick. Make our way back outside. Both interior and exterior are both lovely, but I like the outside for sure. Because again, I'm not really good with that. Maxed out both in and out. Well, that's not difficult to believe because there was so much detail. Well, if you manage to finish it before the 28th, and we still have, well, the 28th I probably have wrapped up with mine, but if you can get it, like, say, done before, let me look, like the 21st, that, let me know, and we'll take a look at it. I'll make sure and